Hey, this is Victor Antonio with another motivation moment. Now, many years ago, I heard a story I want to share with you. It's about a man who's sitting on a train. His 3 kids are pretty much on the train with him, but they're just kind of bouncing all over the place, jumping on the seats, climbing up the poles, just being a nuisance. Everybody around that man is getting irritated, but the man is not paying attention. He's looking out the window. His mind is somewhere else. After some time passes, finally one of the passengers, one of the riders says, I can't take this anymore, I'm going to say something. Goes up to the man and says, excuse me, sir. I said, I don't know if you've noticed, but your kids are basically annoying all of the other passengers. They're jumping around, making a lot of noise. Is there any way you can kind of control them? The man kind of just comes back into reality because he wasn't really paying attention and he just kind of looks at the lady and says, I'm really sorry. I wasn't paying attention. I'm really sorry. I'll say something to them. But right now, it says, and I really do apologize. And he says something like this. He says, my wife just died. Their mother just died. And I don't know how to tell them. And so I apologize for that. I'm just trying to figure out how to, say something. Now, at this very moment, the lady just feels guilty, right? Because her initial reaction was, this guy's being a jerk, not paying attention to his kids. But what was really happening was that he had just suffered a tragic loss, and he didn't know how to share that information with the kids. Now, what just happened in your mind as you were listening to the story? You were probably the writer for a moment, right? Going, yeah, these annoying kids. And as soon as the man said that his wife died, their mother died, and he didn't know how to tell them, that's why his mind was somewhere else, you began to what? To sympathize. Psychologists call this the fundamental attribution error. And this is very important. The fundamental attribution error works something like this. We superimpose what we think, our belief system, on a situation without having all the information. See, the person that was on the train, the rider, looked at the man as a person who was being insensitive, didn't care, was apathetic, and just being plain rude by not controlling his kids. But when she gathered more information, and she learned what had happened, she now understood his situation. She was more sympathetic because she had more data, so to speak. And all of a sudden, she realized that this was not the situation she thought because she had committed the fundamental attribution error. Now, the reason that story is important because it applies to almost everything we do and in life and in business. Sometimes something happens to us, and when we look at it from the outside looking in, much like the writer looks at the father looking out the window, we go, why are they doing that? Without really understanding. But if we were to ask questions, we may gain a better understanding. But by sitting back in judgment, we commit the fundamental attribution error. You ever call somebody, leave a voicemail, but they never call you back? And you say, wow, that's rude. Why didn't they call back? And then in your head, you start spinning all these reasons why they didn't call back and how rude they are and how they're bad people, right? And about a week or two later, they call back and you find out that there was a death in the family, they had to leave the country, and then you're like, oh, I was so wrong. But in your mind, you're thinking, wow, I really judged this situation wrong. Or how about this? You ever send somebody an email and don't get a response? Immediately you think what after a couple of days? Same thing. They're not paying attention. They really don't care. How rude of them not to get back to us. And then you find out when you meet them in person that they never got your email. Maybe got caught up in the server somewhere. But again, our mind committed the fundamental attribution error and we believe that that person was being rude, right? And so again, we do this every day in our lives, and what we have to do is become aware that sometimes when we look at something, it may not be what we think it is. So again, analyze closely before you judge, because sometimes we're too quick to jump to a conclusion when it's really an illusion. Verify, document that it is what it is.